Hey guys, welcome back to the Faithful Farmer Mama. Today I am a little discouraged. Yesterday, or by the time you see this, it'll probably be 5 or 7 days after the event. We had a huge storm come through here, and I just want to kind of share with you the damage that happened from that storm. As usual, if you're new to my channel, please go down below, find the subscribe button, and go ahead and click that along with the little bell. This will alert you whenever we have new videos that come up. I am so discouraged today, guys. Last night, or shall I say about 5 or 6 days ago, we had an awful storm come through about 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. Not only did it have a heavy downpour, had a horrible cold that came with it, along with massive winds, lots of lightning, lots of thunder. For a good hour, it just straight lightning, thunder, and hail. My crops were destroyed. It totally devastated me. On a good note, it is early enough in the season here that we are able to replant a lot. Some locations, depending upon where you are when you're watching this, you're not that fortunate to be able to do that. Although it is very early in the season, I am a little hesitant about things like tomatoes, especially starting from seed. Right now, it's almost impossible to find these things in the stores to purchase. First off, with the virus that's going around, but also just because people have already purchased them and they are putting them in the ground at this time. So I just wanted to share some of that damage with you and my plans as what we are going to do to try and rectify this whole thing. So here's the strawberry planter. We did lose a lot of strawberries, not due to the storm, but due to the mini donkey who likes to eat everything. Out of everything that we have planted in here, because we did plant 16 strawberry plants, I came back and planted some chamomile, which is looking wonderful. And I did plant some chocolate mint, which is also looking wonderful. We did come back and plant some watermelon and honeydew, and those are actually looking pretty good for the most part. The only one that I really lost here was my honeydew plants. They really took a beating. Hail really got to them and just totally destroyed this plant. So thankfully, I have 2 more that I've saved. They will go in this spot. We were very fortunate that none of our animals suffered any damage in this massive storm. The chickens were very much put away, so were the dogs and the equines. However, our orchard did take a hitting. We had, right there you can see 2 little bushes kind of right in this area, right? I'm sorry, I can't find it. Right in here, there is a fig tree and also a kiwi, and they kind of both got beat up a little bit. We have a nectarine tree that was actually producing nectarines. All of our nectarines went to the ground, and a lot of our leaves have some hail damage in them. The cut flower vegetable garden probably took the hardest hit. A lot of my tomato plants were kind of, this one here is just, you can tell it was just beat up and totally struggling. And a lot of my plants here are like that. And I'm so sad about that event. This one here is definitely having a hard time. All of the beans that we had planted that were growing, a lot of them have been broken at the bottom. And they just look very wilty for some reason. I'm not really sure why. I mean, you can see where some of them are just broken off at the base and they're just dying. My goal here is to come back in and replant because I do have some more seed, thank God. Those will be replanted sometime this week. My squash and zucchini here seem to be doing really well. They do have some damage. You can see on that leaf there, it's broken, has a hole in it. That's kind of how a lot of everything is. We had a lot of plants that were definitely hit by hail. And again, broken in half, broken at the base. A lot of the leaves are broken off. It's just so discouraging. But I'm grateful because it is early enough in the season, I am able to replant a lot of them. These here are my purple whole peas. I mean, you can just tell they're just destroyed. Right here I have one that's just totally broken. The squash and zucchini that are here, some did okay and fared out pretty well, but there are a lot that did not. So I will just come back and put more seed in the ground, as these were fairly new. I will say this part of my garden makes me so sad. I planted corn here and I had about 4 or 5 that had come up. Right now I have 2. That one there and that one there. I have started some more corn in some seed containers. These will hopefully sprout and we'll put those in the ground at a later date. These are my cucumber that I just planted. The cabbage that I just planted. My cucumber is really struggling. Again, I will probably come in and just add new seed close by to each one of these plants. And my peppers. Y'all, I am so discouraged with my poor peppers. These peppers have had quite a hard time here. I mean, you can see, look at all the green on the ground. Just broken off pieces, tips. They're just so sad. They make me so sad. This one, just so sad. They are just heartbroken. It's so sad to think that hail and rain could actually do this to a plant. The 2 garden beds that are up against the house, they seem to have fared pretty well, just because of the blocking of the wind and rain, because it was coming from the north. This outside actually was pretty protected, which I'm very grateful for, because I actually have cauliflower growing here. You can actually see the leaves here are quite holey. I put some DE on there to get rid of whatever was chewing on it. So I have a beautiful cauliflower that's started, but something has been chewing on my leaves. So that's why that's on there. And lastly is going to be my regular vegetable garden. So because of this wall of wood that we put up, this is our firewood for the summer, I feel very blessed. It actually was a blessing to put it there. Excuse the red trash can over there. That's not supposed to be there. My peppers were a little bit protected. I do have some, like this habanero here. You can see the damage on the leaves. I mean, they were just, it was hit by, the hail was just everywhere. So it, you know, it was to be expected that some of them did have some damage. Look at this hole is right through the leaf. However, most of them fared pretty well because they were very protected from the rain. Now, it was very cold this morning. It was 38 degrees out, and I was very concerned for my peppers. However, with that wall there, the wind is being blocked, and they are actually very warm right here in this spot. Thank you, God. Here are our potatoes. They are doing wonderful. I didn't really lose, you know, I lost a couple. You can see right here, there's a dead branch. There are a couple spots that I have those, but they're getting ready to flower. If you notice, here's some flower. Once they flower, they'll start to die off, and then I'll be able to harvest them. My carrots did really well, and the kale did really well. Again, there's another pepper that was hit. Not doing good. Makes me a little sad. Here's some lupin coming in. They are a flower. Very beautiful. I do find it amusing. I dislike cilantro more than anything in the world, and my cilantro is growing well and was not affected by the storm at all. Peas are doing great. These also were not affected as bad. They were hit in a couple places. You can actually see it right here. There's a lot of leaves that have like holes and just some damage from the actual storm, but my peas are continuing to grow, and just look how beautiful that pod is. I cannot wait until they are all ready to harvest. Then we have some lettuce growing. Thankfully it was small. The lettuce is still small, so it didn't really damage them too much. Garlic growing well. Again, another pepper struggling, but I think this one will be okay and we'll be able to come back. For some reason, everything in this bed seemed to have done okay. The onions got a little bit whiplashed, but the bottoms are still growing, so that is a good thing. This whole bed, I have a tomato here that I had planted. The tomato is actually looking really wonderful. It has some flowers on there, which is great. The only item in this entire bed that really was hit is this eggplant. Now you see there's lots of plants around it, but the eggplant was hit. Look at these poor leaves. Just holes, huge holes where hail had gone through each and every leaf. But I'm grateful because in the center you can tell there's new growth. And it seems to be doing okay. Like I said, it was last night, so we'll see how that goes over time. My cabbage seemed to do well, even in the storm. I think because of the netting, it was very protected. These will be harvested probably in another week and a half, 2 weeks. I'm very excited about that because I see homemade sauerkraut, fermented sauerkraut, in my upcoming schedule. And lastly is, this part of my garden makes me want to cry. This is the one that really devastated me the most. I grew this broccoli from seed, and it was just starting. You can tell they're just starting to get their broccoli buds on them. And for some reason, these were hit so hard. Look at the tattering and the shattering of these poor plant leaves. It's just so discouraging. I am hoping that maybe they can, just look at the devastation on these poor guys. This one over here is even worse, and you can tell this plant right here really looks like it's struggling. I mean, look at the shatter on these here. Just totally shattered, like someone stuck it in a shredder. Very, very heartbreaking. Now, it is getting warm here. Oh, I just noticed this. Sorry, this is actually broken here. So, not sure how that will even come back. It is actually getting warm here. I see broccoli. So these may not be very good off anyway soon. They'll probably start to die because of the heat. But like I said, it's just a little discouraging when a storm comes through that's not expected and just pops holes in all of these leaves. These were so beautiful the night before. Just sad. So guys, that's it for today. My plan really is to go ahead and just replant, reseed, do whatever I have to get something in the ground. Like I said before, something that I've learned over time, and a good friend told me a couple years ago, and it's common sense, but yet I just never really thought about it when I first started gardening. When something dies in your garden, don't just give up on it. Don't just say, oh, well, I can't grow broccoli, and then just not try to grow broccoli. Put something else there. If you feel like, for example, let me give you this good little example here. For some reason this year, I ran out of space in the big vegetable garden for tomatoes, or in the big cut flower garden for tomatoes. So I went back and I moved some tomatoes over here just because I didn't know what to do with them. I'm grateful I did that because those are the ones that are surviving. My peppers, it's the same thing. I have peppers that are sporadically placed throughout all of these beds. some of those peppers may make it. Don't be afraid to mix and match. Things don't have to be straight line perfect, like a row of peppers and a row of tomatoes and a row of garlic. And it doesn't have to be that way. Plant where you can, whether it's in a pot or in mixed spots in your vegetable garden. It's always amazing to see what can grow where, and it will give you the ideas of where things will grow best and what the best temperatures are for them. I have learned so much this year just by sporadically placing things in my garden. Things that I thought I knew about with my garden, now I'm starting to realize they don't do so well there. So I'm going to put them over here instead. It's a great learning lesson for me, and I'm trying to take that as a positive note on this horrible storm. For those of you who are still under snow, I am so sorry. I did see that the Northeast got a huge snow on the 9th of May, and I'm sorry for that. Soon gardening will be part of our everyday life here and there as well, because the summer is coming quickly. Thanks guys for being here. I'm so glad you're part of this journey with me. Be sure to click the subscribe button and share with your friends and family. I'd love to have them here too. Bye guys, see you next time.